When most people think of the papacy, they picture timeless traditions, golden crowns, sweeping robes, grand processions that seem untouched by the centuries. But beneath that aura of eternity, even within the walls of the Vatican, profound transformations have quietly taken place. The Pope's mission remains unchanged, to shepherd souls toward Christ. But the symbols surrounding his ministry have subtly yet powerfully shifted with the tides of history, culture, and theology. Today we journey through 7 striking changes in papal objects, each a window into how the Church has evolved, not by abandoning her heart, but by representing her soul for every new generation. Number 7. From the Papal Tiara to the simple mitre. Once the crowning of a pope was an event of unparalleled majesty. Upon his head was placed the Papal Tiara, a triple-tiered crown encrusted with jewels and gold, symbolizing his authority over the Church militant on earth, the Church suffering in purgatory, and the Church triumphant in heaven. The tiara itself was a masterpiece of theology and monarchy. Its 3 crowns proclaimed the Pope as Father of Kings, Ruler of the world, and Vicar of Christ. During the coronation, amid clouds of incense and the thunder of trumpets, the new Pope would be lifted visibly above the faithful, a living embodiment of spiritual kingship. Today, the tiara lies in museums. Modern popes wear a simple white mitre, the same liturgical headdress worn by bishops. The mitre, lacking any regal sparkle, speaks not of dominance but of pastoral mission, a reminder that the Pope's highest calling is to teach, to sanctify, and to shepherd, not to reign as a worldly monarch. This change began decisively with Pope Paul VI, who solemnly laid his tiara on the altar of St. Peter's Basilica as an offering for the poor. Since then, every successor, from John Paul I to Francis, has chosen humility over splendor, emphasizing the reality that the Pope is not a king among men, but a servant among servants. The disappearance of the tiara stands as a quiet revolution. The Church, while ancient, is never static. She sheds outward glories to reveal the greater radiance of Christ himself. Number 6. From the Sadia Guesttoria to the Popemobile. Imagine centuries past, as the people thronged the basilicas and Roman streets, the Pope would appear high above them, seated on the Sadia Guesttoria, a majestic, portable throne carried by 12 papal chamberlains dressed in crimson. The Pope, almost untouchable, would wave blessings from his lofty seat, symbolizing both divine authority and sacred separation from the world. That era has vanished. Today, the Pope is found amidst the people, riding in the Popemobile, a vehicle specially designed to allow interaction, smiles, blessings, and yes, even handshakes. Introduced notably during the papacy of John Paul II, especially after the 1981 assassination attempt, the Popemobile evolved from an open-air platform to a bulletproof glass capsule, symbolizing at once approachability and the reality of modern dangers. Where once the Sadia Guesttoria lifted the Pope above his flock, the Popemobile weaves through his people, visibly among them, visibly vulnerable. It's not just a practical change, it's a theological statement. The Pope is a shepherd who walks among his sheep, not a sovereign carried above them. Number 5. From red papal shoes to practical footwear. The bright red shoes of the papacy once gleamed like small flames beneath a white cassock. Red, the color of blood, of martyrdom, reminded the world that the Pope must be ready to lay down his life for Christ. Every pair was crafted by hand, embroidered with gold crosses, sometimes adorned with buckles of fine precious metal. The shoes were not mere fashion, they were theological declarations. In recent decades, however, that symbolism has given way to quiet practicality. While Pope Benedict XVI revived the tradition briefly, famously stepping into custom-made red shoes, Pope Francis chose to return to plain black orthopedic footwear, simple, functional, and humble. His choice was deliberate. In a world obsessed with appearances, he pointed instead to the deeper call to walk the way of service, not spectacle. The changing of shoes mirrors the broader shift of the papacy itself, from imperial imagery to pastoral proximity. Number 4. From the papal coronation to the inauguration mass. Not long ago, the elevation of a new pope was marked by a full coronation ceremony, an event dripping with imperial symbolism. After the solemn words of acceptance, the new pontiff would ascend to the throne, receive the papal tiara with trumpets sounding, and be hailed as the King of Kings on earth. All of this has disappeared. Today, a newly elected pope is simply installed with an inauguration mass. There is no tiara, no enthronement, no regal gestures. Instead, the pope receives the pallium, a simple woolen band symbolizing his unity with the church, and the fisherman's ring, recalling Saint Peter's humble calling to cast nets for souls. This profound change shifts the focus from glory to gospel. The Pope is not crowned ruler of the world. He is charged as the servant of the servants of God. It marks a radical continuity with Christ himself, who came not to be served, but to serve, Mark 10:45. Number 3, from the great papal mantle to the simple choir cassock. The papal mantle was once a garment of awe, several meters long, intricately embroidered with sacred motifs and edged with gold. The mantle swept behind the Pope as he moved, held aloft by attendants. It was not just clothing, it was a manifestation of majesty, a living symbol of the Pope's towering spiritual stature. Today, that image has softened dramatically. Modern popes typically wear only a simple white choir cassock, occasionally with a short red mozzetta over the shoulders, but often even forgoing that. This move from majestic cloak to modest cassock speaks volumes. The church is most luminous not when she glitters, but when she reflects the unadorned light of Christ. Gone are the days when physical grandeur carried spiritual authority. Now it is the purity of witness, the simplicity of life that commands reverence. Number 2, from bejeweled crochars to wooden pastoral staffs. The crozier, the pastoral staff, has long been a potent symbol of papal authority. In medieval times, popes often carried ornate staffs encrusted with gold, gems, and intricate carvings, resembling more the scepter of a king than the rod of a shepherd. Modern popes have chosen a different path. Today, the pastoral staffs carried by men like John Paul II, Benedict XVI, and Francis are often simple, even austere, crafted of silver, wood, or bronze, sometimes intentionally rough-hewn. This change reflects a new vision. The Pope is not a sovereign lord, but a shepherd called to walk among wounded, weary souls. His staff is not for command, but for guidance, not for display, but for the tender gathering of God's scattered sheep. Number 1, from private thrones to open chairs. In centuries past, even within the Vatican, the Pope's personal throne room, the Sala del Trono, was an awe-inspiring space of gilded walls, crimson tapestries, and elaborate thrones raised high above visiting dignitaries. Today, while some ceremonial chairs remain for liturgies, modern popes often use simple wooden chairs, even for private audiences. Pope Francis has famously chosen the most modest seat in the room, signaling that respect is earned not through status symbols, but through humility and authenticity. The shift from private thrones to open chairs captures the heart of the contemporary papacy, a shepherd sitting among his people, not apart from them. The papacy stands atop 2,000 years of sacred tradition, but tradition is not fossilization. The changes in papal objects, crowns laid aside, thrones lowered, robes simplified, do not betray the church's essence. Rather, they express it anew for each age. Beneath every adaptation lies the eternal truth. The Pope is not the king of this world. He is the visible servant of the invisible king. And through every object he carries or chooses to abandon, the church whispers once again, "We preach not ourselves, but Christ Jesus as Lord, and ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake." 2 Corinthians 4:5.